Well, hello everyone. How is everybody doing tonight? Jerry Hall coming to you live from beautiful, warm Costa Rica. And I will tell you, if I hadn't had like cycle after cycle of having like the skin flayed off my back in previous crypto endeavors, um, these last couple of months may could probably have ruined a lesser man. But I persevere on, and I hope that you're doing the same too. Truth be told, as I look at what is actually happening, I'm not worried at all. Now, obviously, I never enjoy seeing my portfolio value go down. It's not something I relish. But I will tell you, as I look around and I try to understand, has the value proposition changed? No, the value proposition hasn't changed one bit. And as a matter of fact, it's only getting better and better and better, right? The fundamentals, the things that I'm looking at. Why do I believe the projects that I've invested in will do well over time? Well, it simply comes down to I think they're going to disrupt an existing industry. They're going to do it better, faster, cleaner, and most importantly, more efficiently. And I honestly believe that. If I didn't believe that, I don't think I would have made the investments that I've made. Interesting point, and I want to get to, I'll make it and then I will get to the chat because I want to say hi to everybody. Um, you know, when I got here, I didn't get here thinking that it was going to happen overnight. And the exhilaration of the latter part of 2020 and the beginning of 2021, I thought, oh my goodness, just maybe, oh, maybe this is actually going to break out and happen. And it was a fun ride, but we've all had from July till now to understand there are many other forces at play as it pertains to markets. So, and we'll dive, that's really the subject of tonight's show. But before I get too far into that, I want to say hi to everybody that's chiming in on the chat. JDO, nice to have you first in the chat again. Mr. David R. Millar, welcome to the channel. David's referencing a kidney here. And what he's saying is, I told him earlier today, I've got a slightly used kidney, not a lot of miles on it. It's for sale. If you know anybody that needs a good kidney, I've got one. You only really need one. I've got one I could spare. 2 Bitcoin, maybe. I think that would do it. 2 Bitcoin. And consider the kidney on sale because Bitcoin is on sale. How do you like that? All right. 416 Crypto. Nice to have you in the house. T. Rich. Patsy Green. Patsy, thank you so much, Patsy, for all the well wishes and the comments. Pete Kelly, nice to have you, my friend. Nice to have you. Ellie Poole, nice to have you in the house. Keep that up, Brady. I'll get to it in a minute. Q Martinez, nice to have you. Johnny Midas, JJ. Now, JDO asked, Jerry, does that chair need some love? Why, yes, it does. And it has seen better days. But here's the thing. It's interesting when you start setting goals, right? This is an absolute true story. I spent my whole life having money come to me very easily. All I needed to go out and do is look for it. I never went hungry in my 50 plus years of life on the planet, and I was never given a whole lot. But I was given a gift of gab, and I could get jobs. And when you're in construction, you can fix things. Generally, people have things that need to get fixed. Whether it's big projects or little projects, I always was able to attract money. I never went homeless, any of those type of things, despite some of my best efforts. So come to crypto, and there's something about the educational process about learning about money and the history of money and setting some financial goals that through this process, and also the 2 years between 2018 and all of 2018, all of 2019, how horrible that was for crypto investors, and me being a crypto investor with really no money. I spent 2 years, basically eating top ramen and walking, um, and not spending money on things that weren't absolutely essential. Absolutely essential. And so, although the old chair does need some love, and there will be an upgrade, it doesn't need to happen right now. Why? Because I haven't finished with some of my goals, right? I'm closing on a piece of property that I love. I've allocated some capital to that. I'm going to build the property, so I'm going to need to allocate some capital to that. Luckily, along my journey, folks, other YouTubers, folks in the audience here, folks that are contributing, whether they're chatting with me on Facebook or Twitter, I've learned that I can use capital to make more capital. I can use money to make money. I never had those skills prior to coming to crypto. I would just go out and work for money. Well, being in this space, I learned how to have money make money. And there's a lot of different ways that can happen. I am now turning a page in my life as an investor. A lot of you know I've talked about it in great detail. I'm collapsing the portfolio. Now, I'm not selling out of my positions. I'm just reducing the size of all the positions except Bitcoin. I'm reducing the sizes of those positions and collapsing them into Bitcoin for one primary reason. I don't know how certain the future is for these projects as it pertains to regulatory certainty in the United States, except for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the only one I'm absolutely certain of. And because I need to use the value of digital assets to collateralize loans to build the property, to fund excursions to faraway lands, to fund the next chair. Bitcoin is the only one I am relatively certain is going to be on a consistent year-over-year path of growth. We need look no further than the story about XRP to see what kind of turmoil a high-profile lawsuit with the SEC can do to a crypto project. It can hamper its growth. It can suppress its vibrancy in an open market. I know the United States is a very small portion of the population of the planet, but it is the largest financial market in the world. It is the largest, most concentrated area of wealth the planet has ever seen. So, what I'm thinking is that although I will keep my positions, I just am going to reduce them. So I'm going to more than double my Bitcoin position and reduce by 80% most of my other positions. If I have a token that has less than $2,000 of value in it, it's not on the chopping block. But if it's above $2,000 in value today, it's on the chopping block. And I've been going through that process, right? I love projects like Algorand. I had to let go of 80% of my Algorand the other day. I really liked Avalanche. I've had it for a long time, bought it for next to nothing and watched it mature. Yeah, 80% of it's gone, no longer in my portfolio. It's been turned into Bitcoin. And I've got a whole list of projects that are on the chopping block. I'm unbonding, so I'm in the process of unbonding a bunch of assets, tweaking this, doing that. It's been kind of heart-wrenching because you put a lot of time and energy into researching these projects, and now I am basically trading them for Bitcoin. And you and I both know Bitcoin is boring. It's boring. I mean, it's volatile, but as an asset, it's boring. There's not a whole lot more to learn about Bitcoin, right? The mystery of proof of work is no longer a mystery. The network and the ongoings of layers upon the Bitcoin network, I'm talking about Lightning and Taproot and these other things that are coming. Okay, great. Truth is, not that exciting. You know what's exciting? Looking at medical records on the blockchain and being able to do it in a very cost-effective way, like what Metablock's doing in the Cosmos ecosystem. Or how about this? Decentralized blockchain cloud computing. That's exciting. Guess where that's happening? Akash. How about next to nothing, literally next to nothing cost to use decentralized exchanges like Osmosis in the using the IBC, which is the Inter Blockchain Communication Protocol. There's a lot of really cool, exciting stuff going on, but I'm just not in a place. I think what it is that now that I have something, I'm being more conservative. I'm kind of turning in. I'm turning into my grandfather. I think that's exactly what's happening. I'm turning into my grandfather. The swashbuckling, I'm throwing it all down on crypto. That the gambler, the gambler's hit a jackpot and doesn't want to give it all back. I think that's what's shaking bacon. I think that's at the core. Let me hit some of these. I see some incredible comments. Let me get to some of these guys here. So, from rags to crypto is my story. That a kid, Patsy Green. I love Patsy. Okay, skilled trades are going to be extremely lucrative in the coming years. Well, they're lucrative right now. Can you imagine having maybe dedicated time after school and actually go to school to learn coding, and now being in a position to demand $300,000-$400,000 a year incomes? Yeah, good coders worth their weight in gold are literally getting whatever they ask for. Let's see what his JDO got here. Last month, I consolidated my cryptos into only a few core positions: Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum. There you go. Right on, brother. Simon, nice to see you, man. It's been a while. Been a while. Let's see. I always love it when Dash comes in. Ripple will win the case and XRP will recover. Just a good gamble. IMO. I'm not happy about the recent price movement, but the asset class as a whole will be worth hundreds of trillions someday. I believe crypto, exactly. I believe digital assets will also be a multi hundreds of trillions of dollars. The chair still works. You know what it does, Debbie? The chair still works. No need to replace it. That a kid. Simon. Okay, we got Debbie again with frugality equals financial independence and freedom. For some people, it does. And for me, I had to, right? I had to stop. I'll tell you what, it was at the core. This was at the core of me being able to let my investments marinate, even when it seemed like, oh my God, is this ever going to happen? I kept saying, I've got to learn how to delay my gratification. I spent my whole life gratifying myself constantly. You know what I mean? If I wanted stuff, I went out, made the money, and spent it. I was not concerned about later down the road because I knew I could make more money. So that meant motorcycles, that meant vacations, that meant, whatever. All right, we got some foul language, so I'm not going to say everything, but it says F word that you don't go to school to do coding if you go to school because that's where all the chicks are. Simon, I'm not sure how I should take that. All right, DC Precise, peace and blessings. Thank you. So that's kind of what's shaken. There has been some stuff that I think is really important that I want to just touch on. I've got an interview that I did today with a really incredible young man named Liam. Liam from the UK does a YouTube channel called Confident in Crypto. And I found Liam as I was diving into more of what I saw emerging in this Cosmos Hub ecosystem. These projects built on Tendermint and all using an IBC protocol, the Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol. And I started messing around on this Cosmos Station wallet, where a ton of these other projects are easily accessible. And I was just for shits and giggles moving assets around and seeing how fast and cheap it was to play around with these things. And then I started messing around a little bit with the Osmosis DEX. I didn't get to play with 1inch and Uniswap because I never liked the math model of what it cost to do those things with the Ethereum fees. And I didn't have a mentor like walking me through, hello, Edward, walking me through all the subtle nuances to like plug everything in through a Polygon network and, dump it. I didn't have all that. So I just kind of stayed away from it. But playing around with this Cosmos ecosystem and the 40 different projects that are inside of it and these decentralized exchanges that are part of it, and getting to do stuff as little as like moving 50 cents of value around. Well, if you're going to move 50 cents of value and it only costs you 1 cent to do it, it's 2% fee. What if it's $1? Then it's 1%. What if it's $2 of value? Now it's 0.5%. You know what I mean? You can start really, really doing some things at near nothing cost. And that was the promise that I got into crypto for, back when I got into it. It's now I'm starting to actually get to see it, because it definitely was not, that's not the case in the Ethereum ecosystem, right? It's not, digital value transmission for next to nothing in the Ethereum ecosystem. That's just not happening. But there are these platforms that are springing up, and entire ecosystems are working around it. And very shortly, we will have our Wi-Fi. We will have our crypto Wi-Fi where everything works with everything. And as users, we don't know what's under the hood and we don't care. We just care that when I send something to you, you get it. And when you send it to me, I get it. That's all we care about at the end of the day, right? It's all coming very, 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 very quickly. All right. So I want to bring Brady in. Brady, I know you got some thoughts. Hopefully you've got some thoughts. I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, man, I'm 17 minutes into the show. And the truth of the matter is, I don't know what else to talk about. So I'm going to bring in Brady and hope that you guys, I'm going to turn it over to you, the chat, to stimulate this conversation going forward. So Brady, I'm going to bring in my brother.
Hello, hello.
All right. Brady, what's shaking on your end? Am I making any sense, or have I completely lost my mind?
You've found the awesome thing that is, I guess you could refer it to, or whichever wonder of the world is left after compounding interest. Finding something that not only gets that has that compounding interest, but the asset appreciation thing is still blowing my mind, because that's kind of where not the rubber meets the road, but that's where these projects can, I guess, what Nick says, turn into life-changing money. And it's interesting that you already have, if not the foreword, certainly the intro to your book chapter, or however you're going to capture your legacy where you are. But it seems like you're already doing well this soon or this early, so it'll be interesting to see how everything else comes to fruition once you're, I guess, buying more property and more land and figuring out or doing whatever it is suits you. And I think that's interesting to see, because most people get into this and they think, oh, it's going to be great overnight. But then when they're waiting for it to happen overnight, they don't figure out it's the passage of time is what has the value and not necessarily what you're holding. So
Right.
value invest, know what you
Saying right
hold it
timing
for
the
a
market,
reason.
about time in the market.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, I
If
think
you're not in it, it's not worth it.
right. Well, when you and I, okay, you've obviously been here longer than I have. You came in, I remember hearing you were talking about you came in basically through mining, right? Or that was kind of your gateway in.
Yeah.
And what an interesting like learning curve, understanding that technology and how the software is going to do this and that and the other thing. One of the interesting elements of this is when you start looking at, well, on a behavioral economic platform, we've got assets that have a relatively fixed supply or an incredibly predictable inflation rate. And with that very predictable inflation rate, we can base a lot of different things off of, right? We can forecast a lot of outcomes off of a predictable code driven inflation rate. Well, as newer projects are coming to the table, they've incorporated more and more behavioral economic elements to incentivize users to come to their thing. Case in point, I distinctly remember how excited I was to be able to transition from a company-based platform like a Nexo, and I don't have anything against any of those companies, but to transition a yield mechanism from a third-party platform to being a self-custody yield creator by like staking my Cardano. I remember thinking how freeing that was, right? Taking the risk of the platform, which it would be Nexo or Celsius or BlockFi or whatever, taking that risk away and earning the same amount of yield, 5%. So, I was like, wow, reduce the risk, keep the same yield profile. Oh, that's wonderful. And then the next set of like the next gen POS system started coming out. And here's Polkadot offering 12% yield. It's like, wait a second, this is double. This is more than double what I'm getting from these other solid POS projects. All right, I've got to get some of that, if nothing else, for the yield. If for nothing else than the yield. And then we have this whole batch of these 10 to 12 to 14 percenters, right? And then came some of the more aggressive platforms. So Kava came out. Kava was, hell, you could get Kava for 20% yield on Kraken, where you could stake your tokens at 8 o'clock in the morning. And if you needed to get out of Kraken, you unstake, you get your tokens in what, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, no bonding, no lockup, and earn 20%. I was like, whoa, that's pretty darn good right there. Then I looked into Kava, right? Little look under the hood. What is really going on over there? Oh my goodness. If I get my own like Cosmos Station wallet or what's the other one, the Kepler wallet or whatever, and I stake through self custody. Yes, I have to bond for 21 days, but I can get 35, 34%. Ooh. Now all of a sudden you've got my interest, because now I'm like 800% more yield than I was getting 6 months ago.
I think
With
hodling has an
that
opportunity
risk
cost.
profile, the same exact
Yes.
risk profile, but you'll give me 800% more. Okay, sign. This requires more investigation. The point is that although we cannot guarantee into perpetuity these super high yields that a lot of these newer blockchain POS systems are offering, their inflation rate is why they're able to do it. And if you read through the fine print, they all have decreasing inflation rates over time. In other words,
Wait,
they're going to add less supply into the overall over time, which plays to what? It's a deflationary mechanism over time. So that means if you're in early and you get an oversized percentage of the returns, therefore your return on investment is oversized.
greatly.
It completely incentivizes the newer person to come in early. Come in early. And we've seen that all throughout crypto,
Yeah.
right? Expressed in different ways, whether it be airdrops or just extremely juicy staking rewards in the beginning, or the first year, or the first year and a half, or the first 1,000 epochs, or whatever code is written for that particular project. There's so many slightly different ones, but they all generally follow one theme, and that is it's front loaded. The maximum percentage is going to be doled out in the first 18 months. So being there for the first 18 months, not only to receive your rewards, but if you're compounding them, that's amazing. Now, can you compound them cheaply? In some systems, you can. Some systems, it costs less, almost nothing to claim your rewards and restake them. Therefore, it's a mechanism you could do every day. And if you are claiming your reward every day and adding it to the principal, and the mechanism of yield calculation is coming off of what number? Your principal. So if your principal is growing exponentially and the rate is already extremely high, it's just going to add an exponential multiplier to the compounding effect, and it becomes almost unfair to the normal people and the rest of the world.
Which is why we're all running as quickly as possible towards education, but it kind of seems like unless you have time, there's nothing. There's no value exchange unless the time is there.
Right.
So it's interesting.
Bidda, hello, Bidda. Happy Friday to you. I hope you check your email and see the link. We'd love to have you come in. Alex, thank you for chiming in. I always like emojis, and I will answer your question. Jerry, how's Costa Rica treating you? Costa Rica is treating me wonderful. Costa Rica loves me, and I love Costa Rica. I found my paradise. I bought my paradise, and now I'm going to build my dream home on my paradise. I'd say that's pretty friggin' good for a dude that in 2018 had $23,000 to his name.
Yeah, that's still blows my mind.
Yeah. And that same thing is here for all of us. I have a friend who just recently came into crypto in the last 6 months. Called me crying today. Dude, I don't know if I can handle this. I went, okay, fair enough. You can sell all your stuff, and I'll give you the very best stock tip anybody will ever give you. Today is a perfect day if you want out of crypto to get out of crypto and buy MicroStrategy shares. Totally on sale. MicroStrategy sales dived down 17.9% today. Monster crash. How long do you think that'll last?
Not
The
too long.
minute Bitcoin gets any kind of breath air up, that stock is going to shoot way up. Because if you do the math on the valuation, if you understand how to do it, and here's the formula, folks, it's real simple. The number of shares, right, divided into how much Bitcoin they own. And that'll tell you exactly how to value MicroStrategies. And all their software business, although it's incredible, that's just a bonus. The value is their Bitcoin treasury. How much Bitcoin do they own? Divide the number of shares outstanding, how many have been issued, into their Bitcoin supply, and that'll give you a very good number of what MicroStrategies is worth. Link is not working. Thank you, Bitta. Thank you, Brady. Can you
Yeah.
handle that, Brady?
I will.
I
Yes. Let me see if I can do it. Hold on.
I'm going to try to do it again too. I'm going to do a new one. I'm going to do a brand new email. We're doing this live. All right. Dueling link providers, Bitta. This is Dueling I gotta go back here. I screwed up. There we go. Bang. Watch. Your link will work, mine won't. I'm a re. Is that the Jeopardy? Is that the Jeopardy theme, Brady?
Yes.
Great, dude.
I was trying to get it faster, but it took. Now we're gonna go save Bitta.
All right. Well, Dash is like, hey, I'm glad you came around on DeFi, Jerry. It's an incredible thing, and very few even understand it. Yet we are extremely early. Here's the thing. You really got to play. You really got to dive in. You got to roll up your sleeves and you got to get in. And the downside to DeFi before was the cost. The cost of the education. I just wasn't willing to pay it. Matter of fact, I will tell you, true story. Today, I've got a decent sized bag of Matic, and most of it I got very long time ago, cheap. But it's been staking on the Ethereum network, and my portal is a Polygon Matic wallet on the Ethereum network, and it's staking, and I've been happy. It just it stakes. It doesn't compound its earnings. You've got to claim your stuff, and so I have it. I never claimed any of my rewards because of the gas costs and stuff. So I go to unstake 80% of that position, and I'm just mortified at the Ethereum cost. Not but it was $360 to unstake my bag. $360. I used to live for $350 for a whole month living. And now I had to spend it in 30 seconds to unstake my assets. It's just cost prohibitive to even deal with that world. But you dive into the Solanos, you dive into the Avalanches, you dive into the Cosmos Hub world. Luna's in Cosmos Station. And you can actually go do stuff. Like I told you, Brady, hi, Kathleen. You'd be so proud of me, dude. The moves I'm making with 50 cent here, 50 cents there, like I'm playing and just trying to figure it all out, right? And how this can interact with that. And can I make liquidity pools with $1.50 each side of the equation? And how does that work? And what is the timing like? And all this kind of stuff. And I'm even playing with taking compounded rewards and then putting them in the machine to compound them.
This is almost kind of like I don't know. It's getting the whole too good to be true thing is the only thing that can come to mind, because until you've like until you stick your head inside of a dragon and look around, like you can't really explain it to anyone. So it's like you can't explain to someone what their gut does when you lose a few zeros, and it's like, oh, it's like the exact opposite of what you were thinking when it gained a few zeros, but nothing really changed.
Right.
It's just how you feel. So it's like this whole mind bending thing that you're going through while thinking, oh, so 30 or 20 years from now, I think this is what's, so then, all right, I'll set myself five, basically just doing the whole Nick thought process is really the only way you can increase your probabilities to hopefully have more than you did and just outrun the fat kid. Pardon the un-PC, but it's boring. It's, as we said earlier, it's not fun. It isn't attractive. It certainly isn't hodling, because that would be easy compared to this. This is
Right.
actually hunting and exercising and testing and doing. So it's sort of a, call it DeFi, call it staking. It's the more you know, the more you can have. If you want it, try and get. So it's like, I don't know. People coming in now asking, "What's crypto?" Uh, do you have a minute?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, you're right. It's kind of, so, I mean, I always tend to gravitate towards what's more predictable, what I can absolutely like have some assurance around. And there's a lot of things like, obviously, when you're looking, it's hard not to find things like Olympus Dow and, etc. And I'll tell you, I haven't played around with those things, right? I haven't. I'm not saying one thing good or bad about them. I've been doing just staking. I'm not talking about liquidity pools. I'm not talking about anything. I am just staking. And there are opportunities now to have a $60,000 pool of capital generate $5,000 a month. Hello? It could go on for 18, 20 months. It could go on for 24 months. It could go on for 60 months. I don't know. But even if it does, even if it went, all it needs to do is do 10 months, right? 10 months. And you're at next to break even. So if it went 4 months, it's just godly profit. If it goes, 8 months beyond, it's, oh my gosh, profit. It's like, oh my goodness. And what I've been able to do with this is like, okay, in my mind, I'm going to keep a very large portion of my portfolio in Bitcoin, and there's really only two ways to go with that. I can stick it on Nexo and get 5% because of my loyalty level, or dabble in the Deribit or the other option games where I'm either doing calls or puts, or and trying to eke out 12-14% relative to everybody else. I don't know if that's worth it. I think maybe just holding it, earning the 4%, calling it good, and then actually go for real yield in other things. Now, take that philosophy. If I could take $60,000 and have it generate $5,000 a month safely through just staking, there's no chance of impermanent loss. None of those downsides that come with the other areas of DeFi. This is just staking rewards. And on a weekly basis, move those tenuous assets, right? That I don't know if they're going to be here in 5 years, and move 80% of those into Bitcoin and 20% to maybe I'll buy a new chair. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just, continue to stack money away. But who knows? It doesn't matter what I use the money for. The point is that I can generate it. And the beauty of it is that all of you can also. All of you can also. Now, I love Dash. He says Flare is my retirement plan, basically. And you know what? I hope that works for you. but I am so uncertain about every single thing except Bitcoin. I don't think any of these things I have are my retirement plan except Bitcoin. I've seen what the SEC can do. I've seen what happens when the regulatory forces decide, whether maliciously or not, to go after something. And the writing is on the wall. People, if you do not understand or believe that the regulatory engine that is the United States, whether it be the SEC or the CMFT or any of those organizations, you don't think that they're going to nip this crypto industry in the bud here pretty soon, you are mistaken. Stablecoins under fire. Watch how that changes. And all it takes, whether the company's in the US or not, all it takes is enforcement actions to have the entire on-road and off-ramp for all your favorite assets, if you're in the US, to get shut down, and it can happen within 24 hours. If actual cease and desist letters go out, there's no grace periods. They shut the F down. You know what I mean? Try getting your assets from your self-custody wallet. If you're a US citizen, it is going to be an arduous task to get that turned into anything. So you may just have to sit on your investment and do nothing. And how much uncertainty and how much opportunity cost gets lost while you're waiting. Well, while you wait for the SEC to decide the fate of your, $250,000 portfolio in that asset number A. It's going to be crazy. There are going to be people who ride this storm out, and there are going to be a lot of people going, the regulators are effing me up. I'm screwed. I'm really angry. Okay. I think anybody who's rational about this space understands that that is a risk, and it's a very real risk. And if you don't take it seriously, well, you should take it seriously. There are thousands of XRP holders who will tell you exactly how painful it is to see your wonderfully technologically advanced project get stepped on like a bug. It's never fun being.
It probably sounds the same too.
The truth of the matter is the SEC and the CFTC and the OCC and all those things, they are the boot.
Yeah.
And as this space becomes more and more institutionalized, get ready. That's Michael Saylor said, and I love this quote because it's so dead on. As this space transitions from entrepreneurs to institutions, you can bet your butt the regulators come with that hand in hand. With that being said, let's bring in our own lady on the street who's going to share her wisdom and her comments around this bit of avenue. Welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. We are having technical difficulties today. That was for Simon.
Was it?
Yes.
You have fans. You know that, right?
Okay.
There are people that tune into the show just to catch you at the end.
Hey, I need one of those gear, blue gear color thingies after my name, whatever that's about.
Color.
What is that? What is a blue
That
gear?
ranch, not
Oh,
gear.
you want to be? Oh,
Wrench gang.
There you
how do
go.
I make somebody? Can I do it live? Can I do it while we're broadcasting?
It just looks very appealing, and blue is my favorite
You
color.
would be in YouTube though, right? I'm not in YouTube. I'm in a thing called StreamYard.
I got it.
What do they call that? A moderator, right?
Oh, I have no idea.
Hey, Crawfish.
Hello,
Nice to have you.
hello, everybody. Happy Friday.
So what do you think, Bidda? Do you think I'm an absolute nut job for wanting to collapse all these this portfolio I've spent 3 years diligently crafting? It's become this it's almost a piece of artwork. When you look at my live coin watch portfolio, it's a portfolio to envy. It's caused envy in all my friends. They go, wow. And when I tell them every one of these things generates more of itself, every single thing here is out there dollar cost averaging every single day to get more for me. They're like, I want that.
Yeah.
I see sign up to Patreon. I'll show you how to do it.
There you go. I still have my my old one, so I look at it and be like, darn.
You're
But
gonna get it back. You're
oh
gonna
yeah.
get it back, kiddo.
The good thing is the knowledge. As long as you have the knowledge, everything else will come. But are you collapsing to absolutely zero, or you're just
No,
shutting down?
everything except for Bitcoin is getting slashed by 80%.
Oh, okay. Okay. You'll still be okay then. It's almost like
I'm
what
still
Noah.
rich.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's what Noah talks about with his risk management, where he says the ones that are gonna go big, you don't need that much of them, or they don't need to be a huge part of your portfolio. I've been listening, Noah. So even if you shed 80%, you'll still be okay. So
Yeah.
that would be my dog.
Hey, princess.
He's talking now, so I can't.
Can she say compounding interest to everybody?
Can you say compounded interest?
Yeah.
Can you say it?
Yes.
She said yes.
I
No, she's
can
gonna
say
knock.
it, but I'm not gonna. So, Brady, let's move you over here, Brady, while Britta sorts out her stuff. Do you, be honest, do you have any plans to adjust your portfolio this year, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter? How are you looking at your portfolio now versus, let's say, a year ago?
Definitely leaning in more on the owning assets, owning assets that pay me to own them, whether it's DeFi sniffing out or staking, but taking those, basically selling the interest either into, I'm thinking either between 50-50 for fiat and Bitcoin, just as like a general dollar cost average into what certainly isn't going anywhere. And even if it's, it's a pain in the ass sometimes to get your ledger out and do all the hoopla and, jump around online with your $20.75, but that $20.75 purchase of Bitcoin on that day, it's not the price you pay that's important. It's the fact that you did it, and it's the time in the market. And each time you do that, you get the little tiny. Think of it as, instead of picking up pennies in front of a steamroller, you're looking for those Cougarans. So it kind of makes a little more sense to, do the annoying, boring work, because this is kind of where I'm kicking myself for not getting the options stuff sooner. But as Nick says, when it goes sideways, you just collect the premium. So I'm thinking more cash flow, so I can then split it 50-50, raise cash balance and dollar cost average into BTC, and then like we could be doing this till June. So it's kind of like button up and figure out what you're.
A lot longer than that.
This is true. That's best case.
Continue to deteriorate. You're going to see a lot of weird volatility in the larger capital markets, which is just exponential volatility in our market. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to ask you that same question. How are you looking at your portfolio now versus before, as far as what you're thinking about? How are you going to allocate? What are you focused on building versus what are you like being more willing to let go of, kind of thing?
Well, my portfolio is very very small, and it was more or less test trial, so I don't really have that many to let go at this point. But a lot of the projects that I picked so far, I haven't really lost anything, as far as like if I look at like where the price was and what things were happening at the time. And because I do have a spreadsheet of like literally everything I've ever purchased, I have a spreadsheet of every single one. So I knew like when I bought, when I sold. So looking at it, it's given me the confidence to say, you know what, you have picked the right project so far. So that is nice. But then I'm also looking at, okay, so instead of buying like a physical property, like now I'm thinking about how about we think about virtual properties, whether it's NFTs or whether other things like that, where I don't want to just only hold crypto where I'm staking or where I'm doing things like that, but also now I want to also get some NFTs. I want to learn how to build NFTs. I also want to get into the virtual land and things like that. So I want to incorporate those things into my portfolio, and eventually, hopefully, instead of buying a property, like I want to invest the down payment there, so the interest from that would buy me a physical land in the world. So that's kind of where I'm trying to dabble back and forth, is like I want to get something virtually that will pay for my physical world. So that's where I'm at.
Right on. I think it's great.
It sounds like digital hopscotch.
Yeah, kind of.
Right?
Kind of. You know, I'll tell you, folks, the opportunity is there for all of us to express our view of the future, right? We do that through our investments. We do that through the things we dedicate our time and our passion to manifest, right? I'm doing my thing. Britta's is different, but hers is just as valid and just as powerful. Same with Brady. I hope that you folks are finding your thing. And I hope that you'll continue to come back to this channel and share them. Share them with us on a weekly basis. Now, we're going to try something next week that we've never, ever, ever done before. And this is an idea that Brady had. So I hope that if you're listening to my voice, you'll check this out. You know, we do the show at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Brady and I are going to jump on a Twitter Spaces next week, a half an hour before our live stream. Start the conversation. Come join us. Come be part of the conversation on Twitter Spaces, and then we'll transition over to the live stream. And if we can keep the Twitter Spaces going and merge it technically into the live stream, we will. I have no idea how to do that, but you know, we're going to try to have some fun with it. We're going to experiment with some different things this year, and we hope that you come along with us. That's so on behalf of Brady from New York and the great state of Washington, who lent us Bitta tonight, and of course, Costa Rica. We'll see you next week, everybody. Pura vida.
Good night.
Bye bye.